Hi, it's Kat. We're back. Today, I'm going to talk about something that's been occupying a lot of my brain space, and that is changing my business and shop name. So, for those of you who haven't been here as long, my name's Kat Hutchings. I currently run an Etsy shop called Spotlight Jewelry, and I've been running it for over a decade. We've done over 60,000 sales on that platform under that name. So, if you are here, I am assuming that you have also contemplated changing your shop name at some point in your journey, whether you're early on or later. So today I'm going to share my experience because I am currently in the throes of this. We are going to talk about why at first, the first thing, why you think you should change your shop name and why that's a terrible reason to change your shop name. It's one that I've thought of. We'll go over that briefly. And then I'm going to actually give you these are 5 reasons, again, that I'm currently going through that are super hard on a business. And I just want to make sure you're considering that if you are thinking about changing your name for whatever reason. And then at the end, I will also share with you the 2 main reasons I did decide to change my shop name. And we are in that process right now. I tried so hard to think of additional reasons because I'm like, surely all of this work I'm going through is not just for these 2 reasons, but I couldn't think of any. So I would love it if you drop a comment. If you think of any other reasons it might be good to change your shop name than some of the stuff we talk about today. But I'm going to go ahead and get into it. All right. Reason number 1, you do not want to change your shop name that we are currently facing right now. And that is the legal complexities. And what I mean by that is it's changing your bank accounts, your credit cards, the LLC, the taxes. I can't even think about the taxes right now for next year. Again, I think we are going to survive 2023 okay because this name change is officially kind of taking place this year, I believe in 2024. We've been working at it for months. But the reality is that's probably one of the stinkiest parts of going through a name change is figuring out and getting all of those accounts, everything you've done. And again, depending on how large your business is, how long it's been in business. With my business, obviously this has quite a few moving parts to it. So that's definitely something you want to consider. Reason number 2, you do not want to change your shop name is the brand awareness. So when you start a company, there's a lot of benefits from growing that company under a certain name and brand, especially if you follow, again, a lot of the best practices in business and you actually care about your customers, you take care of them, they tell their friends, you create kind of like this following. And if you're aligned with kind of like your mission and vision of what your business is standing for, you can lose so much of that traction. Now, I will say this, because even though my business is really established, it's been around for over a decade, we've had a lot of sales, I do think because most of our sales are still primarily coming from Etsy, which I adore, it is time for us to grow. And we are working on, again, with this new name change, we're going to be having our own website, a lot of other things. But the reality is, I think a lot of people, when they shop on Etsy for good reason, like if you come to my shop and you buy some earrings from, Spotlight Jewelry, they arrive, you love them, you think they're beautiful, you wear them out and about, and your friends are like, oh my gosh, I love those earrings. Where do you get them? A lot of times you very proudly say, I got them on Etsy, because I pay Etsy a very reasonable amount of fees for their brand recognition that they have built, keeping commerce human, this handmade. And again, I know as Etsy has grown, it's hard to kind of sometimes maintain that, just like with any company or business, there's going to be growing pains. But the reality is, I really still find some of my best customers on Etsy, but they're not buying necessarily because they want Spotlight Jewelry. They come, they find me via SEO, good photos, good reviews, they purchase from me. But I feel like that might be, hopefully, I'm hoping I won't lose quite as much traction as a brand that was, again, if you were just like your own standalone website and people were specifically coming to you because they like your brand, they follow your stuff. I mean, just think of like some of your favorite brands that you purchase from, like, let's just say it's Nike, for example. Like, you love Nike shoes, you always get Nike shoes, you've built that trust and everything over the years. You can get shoes from anywhere, but you get your shoes from Nike. kind of a similar process. Again, if Nike changed their name, they're big enough that they probably wouldn't lose a lot of people because people would know it'd be in the news. But I think you understand what I'm saying on that point. So you just want to be mindful that you will possibly lose some traction over that brand awareness. The next thing I thought about was credibility. So we are actually, again, facing this in this transition. Just a small example. So we are trying to set up, we have a TikTok under Spotlight Jewelry. Actually, I think we've now already changed the name to something else, which I'm not quite announcing yet. Again, it's all just kind of scrambled right now. But TikTok, to verify our shop, they want us to have 5 credible news sources. So unfortunately, because we've already changed Spotlight Jewelry over to the new shop name on TikTok, because we just wanted to make sure we could, get that name, which is a whole other thing. I don't have any like news articles or things. Like I've been in publications and done lots of podcasts and YouTube videos and stuff, but it's always been under kind of like that Spotlight Jewelry umbrella, and that builds trust and recognition in my brand. So as we are in this transition, even applying for grants or, incubators or things like that, it's really hard to explain like, hey, we have had all this experience and traction and notoriety, but you just don't see it now because it's under this umbrella. So again, just things to keep in mind if you are really thinking about changing your shop name. Next thing, this one, again, big one, not so much. It's been fairly simple as far as the actual like execution, as opposed to some of our other pieces like the legal pieces and stuff, but it's still expensive. And that is our packaging. So we're having to redo all of our packaging. I already have, thousands of Spotlight Jewelry boxes and business cards and thank you gifts and all of these things kind of under that Spotlight Jewelry brand. With the new brand, I love the packaging. I am so excited. I can't wait to talk about it, to show you guys. But it is an additional expense. I'm going to have to, again, buy thousands of these new kind of like packaging to start shipping out under that new shop name. So something to be mindful of, depending, again, how large your business is. That could be a little harder mountain to climb than if it's maybe not quite as large at this point. So the final thing, the reason you do not want to change names is acquiring names is very, very tricky. So if you've already done that piece, like we own Spotlight Jewelry on, Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Etsy and Fair and like all the other kind of like places we're showing up. But this new shop name, it's like you just have to double check and make sure that shop name is available. And now we're running into a trickiness of like, okay, well, we actually got this name, but now we need to transfer it over to this name, but I don't know if they're going to let us do that because they don't realize it's the same business and we're just trying to switch names. Again, just something to be mindful of with today and how we run e-commerce businesses. A lot of it is social media. There's lots of different marketplaces and things where your name and brand are kind of showing up that you've got to be able to make sure that you can switch over, that someone doesn't already own it, or you know how that goes. All right, so now we're going to do the reason you should also not change your name and not even consider, and that's just because you don't like your name. So if you've fallen into that boat, you are not alone. And trust me, I have literally, like when I started my business almost like 14 years ago, I did not think it was going to be a business. It was literally just a fun little side hobby project thing. I took an entrepreneurship class. I was like, oh, that sounds fun. Someone told me about Etsy and I was like, what's Etsy? And I took some pictures and I listed the stuff. Again, this is like over a decade ago. But the reality is there wasn't a whole lot that went into my shop name. Like Spotlight Jewelry came because I couldn't think of anything else I liked better. And that was my girls' camp name. I went to like a church girls' camp growing up and I was called Spotlight because I don't know, I like the spotlight. But that was it. Like, so Spotlight Jewelry, it worked, it's fine. I never actually loved it. So this new shop name is one I have thought about changing for years and years and years because I liked it better. I felt like it kind of aligned with the type of jewelry and things and the mission and the kind of like brand and vibe of my company. But the reality is I never pulled the trigger because I felt like, again, all of these 5 other reasons I listed, just because I didn't like it, I didn't think it was as pretty or it kind of like fit as well with the business, I feel like wasn't a good reason to go through all of the other things I listed for changing it. So here's the big question. Why did I decide to change the name of my business? And honestly, it comes down to just one reason for me. And it is, again, a legality issue. So because when I started the business so many years ago, in essence, I haven't been able to, like, I've talked to my lawyers. I don't, the trademark is going to be a lot harder to acquire for the current business name I have. And so I filed the trademark for the new business name, which I always liked better and always had thought about changing. And we were able to acquire that. And so now at this stage in my business, I am on a path. I plan, again, life happens, it may not be guaranteed, but I plan to sell the business in the next 7 years. So that's what we're kind of like building up and ramping to do, is growing, scaling, kind of like evolving. And I just knew if I went to try to sell this business someday, that would be really tricky to do without officially owning or having to go through maybe some additional complexities to try to do that, of owning that particular trademark and that brand name. So that was the main reason I was like, clean slate, like, we've got to do this. We've got to start it clean and fresh and right from the very beginning, knowing now what I know about business and knowing where the business is heading. That's something, again, I would encourage everyone when you're starting to look at that first. And I know people told me that when I was starting my business, like, make sure you can get the trademark. But I was like, I just didn't even, it wasn't even going to be a business back then. Like, I literally had no idea. It's crazy the journey I've been on to get here, and the way that I think about, myself differently, my confidence, my business, everything I'm kind of doing. It's been all like beautiful evolution. I'm really excited, really proud of it. But at the same time, like, I couldn't have foreseen like this is where we would be. So that is the main reason we're going through this. The second reason is I do feel like it is more aligned. The actual name, this new name that we're going to be using, is a little more aligned with the kind of like the new niche and the brand and the vision. We've kind of like honed that down a little bit, and I'm really excited. I think it worked out again in the end, besides all of these hurdles we're having to get over right now. But again, without the first one, I don't think that would have been enough to cause me to change the name. So let me know what you guys think. Please like if this video helped you at all come up with some ideas in your own business of whether this is a good fit or not. But I really would love to hear if you have other reasons that you have changed your business name or seen success, or any other thoughts you have on it. I'm always here for that. And otherwise, stay tuned. I have just exciting news coming up, changing the shop name, getting our own website, all of the things. I'm actually flying out to New York next week to do kind of like some stuff with Etsy at their headquarters in Brooklyn. So I don't know, again, legally, I'll talk to their team and see what I can share, but I would love to, again, just fill you guys in as much as possible. You know that Etsy's been an amazing part of my journey. And I know that a lot of you that do listen and follow these videos are also building Etsy shops at this point. Eventually, I'd like to get a little more into almost just like vlogging about my entrepreneurial journey, and almost like growing beyond Etsy, and what does that actually look like to, grow, build, scale, sell a company. But for now, I'm absolutely here. If you guys need help with any of the like kind of like Etsy things, feel free to, again, just drop something in the comments. You can follow me on Instagram. I'm Hutchings. I'm trying to get a little more active on there as well. But I hope you guys are having a fabulous day. Good luck with your shops and all things entrepreneurship, and we'll talk to you later.